What's up, YouTube? My name is Bob Morrison. Welcome back to Nerdly Reviews. Today on Nerdly, I am going to review three Pop figures. So that's the first one. So the first one I'm going to review is Pop Marvel 80 Years, number 593, Spider-Man. So on the back, it just shows his first arrival, and Vulture is actually in this one too. He was the first villain that Spider-Man fought. I've been waiting a long time for this figure that came out to come out. And the box is super nice too. I always like it when they have anniversaries. The box is always super smooth and stuff. Um, so yeah, the first one I got of this guy, so in this one Spider-Man's flying, so he's got his arms out and he's jumping, getting ready to fly. So Spider-Man actually flew, and he had webbing under his armpits, not like a fly suit like Spider-Man has now, but like webbing under his armpits. I don't know why they did it like that, but it was the '60s, so who knows. So yeah, the first one I got of this guy, his stand was broken. It was really cracked and messed up. So quickly put it back in the box, and then later I went to check on it again just to make sure I wasn't seeing anything. And when I pulled the figure out of the package, it actually snapped off. So luckily, my friends at the UV games that I go to were able to replace that for me. Yeah, mostly because I've been going there since I was like 5. So, yeah, hooray. So that's the first one that I'm going to be doing. The next up are two Venom ones, but from two very different lines. I didn't even notice that until I got them. So the first one is Pop Marvel Venom, number 596, Venomized Ultron. Excuse me. And on the back here, you can get 510, which is Venomized Thanos, who looks very weird, and I would not recommend. 511 is Venomized Groot, also very weird, would not recommend. 512 is Venomized Storm, she's pretty cool, I would recommend that one. 513 is Venomized Daredevil, that one's a hit or miss. 514 is Venomized X-23, that one's pretty sick. 515 is Venomized Rocket, he's very purple and weird, I don't recommend. 595 is Venomized Punisher, he's an EB exclusive, I think, he's alright. It's just there. And 596 is Venomized Ultron. The Ultron one I like. I think Ultron's pretty cool. I just have a few complaints with him, and the only thing I want to point out is that a new one they brought out was Venomized Captain Marvel. Marvel looks exactly like Storm, so I would not recommend getting her. But that's just me. Actually, she's right on the back here, so I'll show you in a minute. But now, next up, I got Pop Marvel Spider-Man Maximum Venom, number 602, Venomized Doctor Strange, who I've been waiting for a long time. I guess Spider-Man Maximum Venom is probably like a TV show? I'm thinking, because I've never seen a comic called Spider-Man Maximum Venom. I looked for it for a while. I never found a comic like that. So I'm thinking that it's probably like a TV show like the Ultimate Spider-Man or whatever. And then they stopped that show and they were very awkward and weird Spider-Man show that I didn't like. So yeah, Venomized Captain Marvel is $5.99. She's right here. That's what she looks like, and that's what Storm looks like, right there. So they look basically the same. That one made me upset. And then one that I was also waiting for was 600 Venomized Miles Morales. That one will look like shit too. It looked like So you know how Spider-Man has like lines on his mask? Like they're not apparent lines, they're kinda just there. Like see like the webbing lines. Like the webbing lines on his face. You can't really see it, but you know what I'm talking about. And so Miles has them too, but they were in like not very apparent but red lines on his black mask. It looked like a 5-year-old drew them on. It was disappointing. He looked alright, but it looked very clumsily and lazily done, which I didn't really enjoy, mostly because it's a feature that isn't paid attention to very well. So if you just skipped over that feature, maybe it wouldn't be that apparent how awful it is. But yeah, that's my one complaint with it. And then 601 is Venomized Groot. They have a 10-inch in this one. They're very creepy. If you like that sort of thing, I would get it, but because it's Baby Groot, it's just very weird, and I didn't like it. And then 602 is Venomized Doctor Strange, and which I love. So yeah, so I'm gonna open all these boxes up and let's get started. Alright, so I got them all out now. I'm just gonna So yeah, the Spider-Man one that I got was broken up here. So if you get this guy, I highly suggest looking at that. Mine could just be a fluke. It could have just been something with the shipping or with the making of the figure, just something odd like that. But I highly suggest checking that out. Even if you're in the store and you know the people who work there, and you're like, hey, can I just check it out this stand, make sure it's fine? They'll probably say yes. You just bought it. And if it's not fine, be like, can I exchange this? And they'll probably say yes. So, it's just something like that. EB Games does, the one I go to in, Whitby. There's two in Whitby. I recommend going to the one in Whitby North. It's on Thixon, I think. Yeah, Thixon. You take, Brock Street North. And I'm pretty sure that's Thixon. It could be Taunton, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, it's just Whitby North. Just look up EB Games Whitby North, and the one that's not by Highway 401 is the one that I always go to. So yeah, so that one they take very good. I'm not saying that all EB Games are bad. Like the one by the Whitby Mall is pretty nice too. I like that one. But Whitby North, they get to know their customers and they get to know how much they like to collect pop figures, and they appreciate not wanting a broken figure, not wanting a busted figure, So they're able to get stuff like that fixed right away, which is very nice. So here's so sorry, I didn't mean to dilly that, but I just needed to put that through there. That if you see a broken stand, just let them know and they'll replace it. Because they want you to be happy, and you don't want a broken pop figure that you can never take out. So yeah. So here's Spider-Man. So he's got a nice bobbly head here. I will say that my only issue with him jumping is that the spring isn't long enough. So his shoulders hit his head, and he can't really bobble that well. That's just my issue, but whatever. He's got nice. They got the webbing on the arms, which is nice, and they also got shadow aspects too. So if he was jumping, areas of his suit would be darker than others. So he's got blue. It's very comic aspect, which is nice. So he's got the blue and the black, which is what they did in the comic book, and he's got the very nice. He's got like the weird Spider-Man symbol up here, same at the back, because he wasn't the sharp Spider-Man symbol that they have now. He was just a kid, or a girl. I can't remember. No, Peter Parker was a man, a young man, and he made his own suit, and he wanted to fight bad guys, and so yeah, that's just what his suit looked like, and it looks super cool, and especially when you have this against the background like I do. I always put my pops against a poster or something to distract from it being against just a blank wall. It really takes away from the aspect. It kind of looks like he's just hovering there at sometimes in the day. So it's just nice like that. So yeah, I think they did a very good job at this one. So yeah, I am very impressed. Next up is one that I'm not impressed by. We go from the good to the bad. So don't get me wrong, I love all my pop figures, but this one pisses me off the most. And it's not because of what you think, it's because of what it doesn't show, which is what I can show. So when you have a bobblehead, the part about the bobblehead that you want to do is make it so it's balanced, so it doesn't overpower the figure, and so you're not staring at the bauble so much, you're looking at everything. The bauble takes away from that in this one. What happens is that they put too much weight in the front aspect of this model, especially with this weird tongue here. I feel like the tongue really didn't need to be added because Ultron doesn't have a tongue. It's just something that's really, really weird. And it's not like the other figures that have a tongue where it's like built in. This one is just like you can see the red of his mouth, and then the tongue is there, and it feels very drawn on. It's not like the box art where they go deep into the mouth and you can see like darkness and stuff. And they did that with my Carnage. It was a little pink, it was a little weird, but still they did that. They did that with my Venom. They did that with Hulk too. They made some aspects of his mouth darker because, as you can see when I'm talking, there's pink around here, but it's mostly just darkness in there, just black. So they were able to do that and make it look like his tongue was actually there, which was nice. This one kind of just looks like, what should we do, boss? Slap a tongue right there. There you go. Tongue on Ultron. Cool, but it's not. And the problem with this is that, like I said before, you got weight back here. But what they did, I guess, to try and counter that, is that they added a lot of weight on the back of his head here, which didn't help out. What they should have done is they should have put his feet flat, because his feet and his legs are kind of warped out all weird. So he's kind of just like standing like standing like this on the ground. So if these were his legs, he's got his legs all the way out like this, trying to stand up, and it makes it very uneven trying to get this guy to stand, and he doesn't stand. I'm just gonna say that up front. The Venomized Ultron does not stand up. Mine doesn't, at least. Yours may, but mine doesn't, which is super frustrating. I have to duct tape him down to the top of his box. Well, not duct tape, but masking tape him down to the top of his box just to get him to stand upright. Or put him right against the wall, which I don't want to do because you want to see him bobble. This guy doesn't bobble, by the way, either. Because of the weight, he should be more like here, so you can get a bobble, but because of the weight, he just digs right into his shoulder here. And I think the tongue is the most distracting part because there's a lot of other cool details to this figure, like the Spider-Man symbol here. Like they talked about how Venom takes aspects of people he's bonded with. So since he's bonded with Spider-Man, he gets Spidey sense and Spider-Man's logo. That's why Eddie Brock and Spider-Man are both evenly matched for each other. And when he bonds with Loki, he gets Loki's cunning and his intelligence. He bonds with Doctor Strange, he gets mystical stuff. Like, that's just how it works. But the Venom one is very distracting in that I think they didn't really know what to do with him. They tried to make him look cool. Don't get me wrong. If you're a big fan of this one, I don't really need you being like, oh, you'll know. But like, I think they tried their best because it's a really weird character to make him look cool, but they didn't do it in the best aspects. So it's very distracting because most of the color they use is on his face, while the rest of his body is just dark gray colors with a little bit of red splotched in there every once in a while. And it's very distracting from how gray and colorless this figure is. I've talked about this before on this channel with Transformers when they don't properly, color them and shade them, and it's just very distracting because if they have a little imperfection, or if they have not imperfection, but if they have a little like just weird aspect, especially this face, especially with my Snoke review that I did last year, when you saw me touch his head, I got freaked out because of all the bumps and stuff. It's just a very distracting part of the character, and it doesn't give a good aspect at all. Now, the Doctor Strange that I'm going to show right now, it gives that good aspect because while there's weird things going on here, you want to know what the hell's going on, he gives other cool aspects to the figure that you don't really notice, and Ultron doesn't do that much. He's a very colorless, bland figure. Doctor Strange is too, don't get me wrong, he's got not a lot of color there, but he's a colorless, bland figure that just looks super weird. And I don't regret buying him because I've always wanted an Ultron, and I've always wanted a Venom figure. So I like the Venom as Ultron. I just wish they took a better approach at the figure. They maybe put him over there. They maybe spent a little bit more time going, well, he's gray. The shading on the box shows him more as a bright silver. So maybe we could do a plastic or a vinyl like that, just a bright silvery figure, and maybe make him an exclusive if we want to do it that way. Just a nice brightly colored, brightly tinted silver figure, because Ultron's silver and he's shiny, and maybe do better aspects on the mouth and stuff, and just making them look more I don't know, interesting, you know? I just look at them like, why is there a tongue there? What's going on? Like, it takes away from it. And so one of them I'm going to talk about now is Doctor Strange before I finish this video off. And what I like about Doctor Strange is that even though he's distracting, it's in a good way. So what I love about Doctor Strange is that immediately you can see that he's actually sitting up on his cape, which I've never seen a figure before without the use of a stand. So he doesn't have a stand on him. Oh, that's what Ultron should have had, by the way. A freaking stand, guys. Come on. Like, I've talked about stands before, how important they are. Characters like Ultron with the big heads need stands. While Doctor Strange is perfectly done so that, yes, his head can dig in a little bit at some points, but he still has a nice bobble to him. And it's not too distracting. The head, the beard, and everything cover it up very nice. And what I like is that his cape is attached to his head, but instead of his cape being constricted like it is on other Doctor Strange figures, it actually goes along, and like he's not fully transformed, which is super nice. So if you look at the cape here on the back, the inside of it is red, while the outside of it is black because he's becoming Venom. You can see there's teeth here and stuff, and there's holes in his cape, as if, sorry, I just need a drink. Sorry. As if he's been in battle. And what I like is how he's doing an incantation too. So he's doing Doctor Strange stuff while he's being transformed, and he's got one hand here that's normal, and then one hand here that's been transformed by Venom. Same with his boot here. He's got one boot here that's normal, and one boot here that's not. And his chest is very weird because it's forming around the Eye of Agamotto. I think that's what it's called, or the Time Stone, and the Spidey symbol has become more of a phoenix like look. I just think it looks super neat. It's a super nice character. I felt like they did their best on this one. They actually looked at the character and they went, what if we can do this? Or what if we change this a little bit? Just to make it look cooler. And it's a distracting character, but in a good way. There's nothing weird going on here because he's being transformed into Venom, but he's also doing a spell, like he's accepting it. And it's just something that's very nice. And I haven't seen it figure in a while. Because usually figures are just, that's the character. There you go. But with the Spider-Man and with the Doctor Strange, they actually take their time to say, well, Spider-Man's a comic book character, so what if we do these colors on his suit to make him look more like a comic book character? And same with Doctor Strange, it's like, well, he's a cartoon, so what if we make him look more cartoony? That would look cool. And so yeah, I'm really thinking he's a cartoon, by the way. I just added that in. So yeah, that's what I like. Kind of like how in the movie Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Peter Parker is filmed at 24 frames per second, the highest speed of filming, while Miles is filmed at 12, I think. He's very slow in how he moves, and that's because of how they took really into effect in that movie how Miles isn't trained how to be Spider-Man, so he would move slower than Spider-Man. That's how stuff works. So it's kind of just like that, taking a little extra dip into how we can make this better is super nice. And now there's figures like Ninja and all this stuff coming out, which is super ridiculous and dumb and cheesy, and it saddens me because there's so many cooler people that they could do figures on, or there's so many cooler comic book people, characters from books and movies and TV shows and comics that they could do pop figures on and make them look so nice and just free flowing and just like oops, I'll put it here, and just correct and not this weird dark gray silvery kind of guy, you know? And I think my biggest complaint is that Marvel keeps not Marvel, Funko keeps saying, oh, we're a small company, but you can't say that anymore. You're a big company. You're a massive multi-million-dollar company that's basically making childhood dreams come true with figures, because you never see these characters being making the action figures, very rarely, but not a lot. So it's kind of just like the fact that when people get pissed off with their figures, with what they look like. Yes, there'll be fans that defend it, but also you can't hide behind the fact of what type of company you are. You have to, step up, be like, yeah, you fucking hate it. That's cool. We're gonna still release it, but maybe we'll come out with something better. Kind of like how when they came out with Tony holding the gauntlet like this figure, people got pissed, especially me, because we're like, really? That's what you're giving us? That's not Tony though. That's not what he did in the movie. This is a glorified version of the pain that the character went through in the movie. Same with Cap. The Captain I have that's all bloody and beat up and stuff. Like the original Cap they released was like all cool. Well, in that moment when he got when he got Mjolnir, he was already beat up from fighting Thanos, and people got pissed. And Funko was like, "Oh shit, sorry." So they re-released characters. So now we have a metallic Iron Man that's bleeding, and he's going with the stones like this because he's about to snap his fingers and kill himself, sacrifice himself so that people can live, and a beat up Cap holding Miller. He's pissed, and he's got lightning coming off him because that's what we see in the movie. So yeah, that's my only complaint with when they take creative differences really on how they make a figure versus how it should be, or what the fan is more expecting. If you like Van Maelstrom, that's good for you. I don't mind having him in my collection. He looks cool with all my other Van figures because he's part of the collection. But that's just my say on it. So if you like this video, please let me know, and I will see you guys later. Bye.